Okay, as I just get up and I'm just about to move on to go get my coffee, I'm sitting here looking out and I'm like I'm like, is that a doll stuck in the tree? Is that like a Pee Wee Herman doll right over there stuck in the tree? And as much as I want to go take it and put it in my van because it's looking straight at me right now and it is awesome, I'm gonna leave it there because this is gonna be another cool moment for somebody else. And hopefully they'll leave it there and make it a good moment for somebody else too, but check this out. Today's turned out to be quite a house cleaning day. Not only that, but it's also turned into home renovations and rearranging. So here's another plus side about living in it before you build it. Over the past couple of days, I've started to realize that some of the things in my van where I put them just weren't working out. So if I would have built in permanent closets, I'd have been kind of screwed right now, realizing that, oh crap, where my clothes and stuff are really doesn't work for me. So by doing the build the way I did it, living in it before you actually full on build it, it allowed me the chance today to fully rearrange things. Well, not fully, but rearrange a few things without having to cause a full ruckus inside my van. I'm just about 2 months in, and I'm still making movements in there because I'm learning as I go. You'll notice that there's a stack of coat hangers right there. It's because I used to hang up all my clothes along this bar here. And in the past few weeks, I've noticed that I haven't even been wearing half of those clothes, that a majority of the clothing I have been wearing are in the boxes that are underneath my bed. So I decided to just take all that stuff there, put all the shirts and stuff into a box underneath my bed, and put all my jackets and stuff I wear all the time in the back of the van. So here's what I've decided. I've decided to hang my jackets and stuff up here, and on the opposite side of this, over here on this side, I am gonna buy one of those little, kind of like the dresser I have up front, but the wider one. I'm gonna put my wider dresser back here, and I'm gonna keep all of my clothing in the back of the van. I can still fit all my DJ gear and stuff I need in the back section. I've noticed I don't use the sides of it very much, but back here I think is gonna be a better place for my clothes. Technically, you only put on clothes once a day. So I figured putting it in the back section of my van is probably a little bit more practical. Gives me a little bit more living space up front, and put the stuff I really don't use in the back of the van. And I thought also having the bigger dresser would allow me to take some of the clothes that's underneath my bed and actually put them in drawers so they're a little bit easy to access. Huh? Smart thinking, right? This side of the van used to look good. With all my clothes and stuff hanging up there, it kind of had like this finished off look. It looked like I was comfortably living in here. Well, now, I kind of just look like a hobo living in a van. I've been on the IKEA website taking a look at some shelving pieces that I wouldn't mind putting here. I still got a bit more thinking about it to do on what exactly I want to do, but it would be nice to have a place to put my cooktop and, you know, just other stuff. And putting some IKEA pieces in here still leaves it movable for me, but yet gives it a little bit more of a finished home look. Makes sense. I'll definitely keep you posted on what I'm gonna do. I always tell you everything I'm doing. So, bet you're wondering, especially those of you who've been watching my channel. Hey Chrome, it looks like you insulated your van. I kinda did, but I never got any footage of it. But let me throw you a montage together of what I did, and then I'll explain it to you. So here's what happened. I started to insulate the roof like I said I was going to, and I put one layer up of 3/4 inch foam with the shiny side down. Simply just cut it to pieces, glued it up in there, done deal. I wasn't gonna film it all because there's so many videos on how to do it, and it's just a matter of just stuffing it in the holes. It's not rocket science. I had originally intended on putting a second layer up to fully insulate the roof because I think the roof is, one, important for noise, especially for me doing voice work, and for two, it's gonna be your prime insulation piece you must do in your van because all your heat is just gonna get lost through the roof. So that was the only thing that I really technically wanted to do this round. But something happened. I ran out of insulation. So with all those extra little pieces I had, I started cutting them up and putting them in all of the little tiny little squares all the way around the van, and I had enough to do the entire thing. Let me show you. Okay, taking a closer look at it, there's just the little pieces in here where there's actually sheet metal. This is still a bit of a ribbing piece. It's still away from the actual sheet metal on the outside. So I technically just took the extra pieces and I glued it right up against the sheet metal itself because that was the point where it actually could feel cold. Touching any of this stuff here where the ribbing is, even on the thinner parts of the ribbing, there's still no condensation on it because the condensation is building on those pieces right there. Just like it was on the roof, it was actually right on the bare sheet metal itself, not on any of the ribbing. Now that I've done a basic install and pretty much just covered all the panel pieces, have I noticed a difference? Disco, have you noticed a difference? Have you? He couldn't care. He's mad that I took his ball away. It hasn't really held heat any better because you realize we got windows and all sorts of other gaps, but it definitely heats better. It's not that it holds the heat better, but the heat feels different when you're heating it. It's more like a comfortable home heat than, I don't know how to explain this. It's more like heating a home versus heating a tent. The heat feels different. It's a lot warmer and definitely a lot less moisture kickoff on the front windows when you turn the heater on. I think because of adding the insulation, it's a lot less damp in here. You know, dampness I really never felt, but I'm gonna guess that's why I got so much dampness on my front window when I turned on my little buddy heater. Last night, I ran that heater for 20 minutes and I got nothing on the front window. So I'm guessing the insulation has definitely helped that a bit. I originally wasn't intending on putting those little panel pieces in the side because what I was actually going to do is just run that pink foam board in the larger panels because those two little square panels are a piece of a larger panel. I was originally just going to do just the large panel pieces in there and do something with the foam board to give it a better look, I guess. I ran some DJ gear in the van the other weekend and noticed that I don't have a lot of stuff that's coming up more than halfway. So I guess I can do a few more pretty things to the van to make it feel a little bit more like home. So I bought some of that pink board stuff and found something else on the plus side. If I were to put the pink board stuff in there, hold on, let me show you. The original plan was to put these right up in there. So I don't know if you can tell, but that fits perfectly right inside that ribbing area. So that on the van with a pretty cool little design and stuff on it was gonna look pretty awesome. And I'm planning on doing one big piece there, another large piece there, and I've already cut the panel pieces. It's just a matter of now of finding something cool to put on them. So now that this has all happened, that other video I posted about am I gonna insulate the van or not, it's kind of bogus because it turned out that I've kind of insulated it. Put some extra pieces in the doors. And am I happy I did it? Yeah. I mean, I wasn't intending on doing the sides quite yet. You know, I wanted to just experiment. That was the whole purpose of all this stuff, is just to experiment. I wanted to experiment with just doing the roof and seeing what happens. But I am still experimenting. By the end of this week, it's supposed to be down to like -1. We don't get cold this early, but it's gonna get cold. So here's my experiment so far. I am not touching or doing anything else to the van the way it is. So I've only insulated between the ribbings, all the way around the van. I've done nothing to the inside of the doors, nor have I done anything with any of the little crevices around the bottom. Nothing. And I'm going to leave it just the way this is and see what it's like going into the first cold week we're gonna have of winter this year. And I'll definitely keep you posted on if doing something simple like this will last a week of cold weather, because we're gonna find out real quick. But I'm only gonna do things a little bit at a time so I can find out on my own and maybe find out for some of you guys, you know, how far you really have to go. Do you have to seal this thing up like you see on a lot of other places, or can you get away with just a little bit? So we're gonna try it just the way it sits right now for the next week. And then, you know, maybe the week after that, I'll do the side panel pieces like I want to do with a nice pretty little pattern or material or whatever I decide to put on it, and fully do the roof, like get the roof done with another layer. And that's it. If it does happen to get super cold, the only last thing I will do in the van, I don't plan on doing full panels or anything like that on the side. I think doing the foam board and stuff for the design on it will be plenty cool for me, is maybe stuff some insulation in the doors where a majority of the stuff's coming in at, and put some reflectix on the back window to kind of like keep that, because I'm so close to that back window. I bet you're wondering how much all this stuff cost me. Barely anything. All of this insulation you see in here, including all of the little pink foam board to cover up all the side panels, all of it. Are you ready for this? All of it. $45. Yes, just from Home Depot, was super cheap. The foam paneling that's here, it's 3/4 inches thick. This stuff was a measly $13.95 or something like that a sheet. Super cheap. That was 2 sheets of them, covered the whole entire van. Was pretty awesome. And the side panel pink pieces were like $8 a piece, so $45 including taxes, and we're done. Oh yeah, and you're gonna need a can of spray glue. I already own the can of 3M77 or whatever it was, so it didn't cost me anything. But you have to add the spray glue on top of that. Now you're looking at like maybe another $10. And then go to the dollar store, get an X-Acto knife, and maybe while you're there, grab a measuring tape. So really, all in all, if you had to buy all the supplies straight out right on your own, for $60, you could get your first layer in and see if it works. And if I do finish everything off, I'm probably only gonna be into my insulation job for me, maybe $70 at the tops, fully done and in. Cheap, affordable, and simple. Just the way I like to do everything else in my van. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Always stay positive, be beautiful, and please never stop being weird. Until the next time, you guys, I love you, and adios.